What's up, all my Desis? Welcome to Talkin' Chalk and Chai. Today we are talking about my experiences as a Pakistani American growing up as a normal-ish person in Colorado. So I grew up in Colorado. For those of you who don't know, I was born in Pakistan, Lahore, Pakistan, and I came here when I was 6 months old. 6 months old, 8 months old. The months are kind of mixed up, don't have very many specific dates on that, but I came here to Colorado when I was 6 to 8 months old and began my life from there. And so I've had a lot of experiences growing up in a household where my parents are mainly Pakistani oriented and I am just kind of confused and kind of in the middle, and that's kind of how most of my life has been. Even now I'd say there's a lot that I'm just kind of like in the middle about. I just kind of like float in the middle, you know. I don't really know how to swim, but I'm kind of in the water and I'm just kind of floating there, which I think actually floating is harder than swimming, but I'm not sure because I don't do any of that. And also, when people ask me why I can't swim along these lines, is because, firstly, Colorado's landlocked, but that's not an excuse. That's not it. I just tell people that, who I don't want to give that a long story to, but also because I was raised Muslim, and I'm not allowed to wear like a full-fledged bathing suit, so that makes things a little difficult. So we just kind of stayed away from the water in general. So that's why I don't know how to swim, because we were just like, let's just stay away from that stuff. Also, this is kind of weird, but everyone can relate. Everyone from my part of the world can relate. I'm super hairy.
Whoa.
And that is already just like super, just very different. And people are like, oh, I have hair too. And no, you don't. Put your leg away. I know you don't have hair like I have hair. Like, the only requirement I think I have for later when I get married is I hope my husband is hairier than me, because otherwise it's just not gonna work out. It's just not gonna work for me. It's just kind of mentally, but yes, my legs are probably hairier than most men. I have seen your legs. You are not hairy, okay? You guys don't know. It's too real. I'm like, my hair was full-fledged there in 5th grade. 5th grade, full-fledged hair. And I wore capris at the time. When I was in 5th grade, I still wore capris without being able to shave or wax or anything, because I wasn't allowed to, because you're a 5th grader. Like, come on, who does that when you're in 5th grade? So I remember I would go to school wearing capris and everyone would make fun of me, and I had no idea why. I just thought, like, I would just be like, oh, haha, yeah, my legs, you know, and I realized later, looking at pictures, I was like, holy cow, how on earth would I go to school with such hairy legs? And it was so, like, I don't know, I was a kid, I didn't notice it back then. Of course, my parents didn't care. In fact, my dad, his whole motto of us growing up is like, the uglier you look, the better, because then guys will stay away from us. And I know, like, me and my sister didn't really care growing up. We just kind of wore the same hoodies, and it wasn't until I hit high school that I was like, okay, like, I like makeup and I like style and stuff, but it really didn't fly well with my parents. Like, in fact, my dad was always like, our hair was really long, so my hair went to my thighs, and my dad was always like, you have to keep your hair braided and you have to look, you know, the typical Pakistani, but we were in America, which is the problem, you know, and around that age, like, of course, we're all constantly, it's a battle with our parents, you know. It's like, we want to please them and do things for them, but at the same time we're like, no, come on fam, like, come on. So I remember one thing is, like, we weren't ever allowed to go get the mail, really, alone. Every time we would get up from the living room where the entire family was sitting, my dad would kind of be on the fence, like, where are you going? Where are you girls going? You know, like, constantly, like, even just moving around in the house, where are you going? You know? And it was just, it was, even at the time it was a little annoying, but like now it's just hilarious to me, because we would go to the mailbox to get mail and we would have to take my grandma with me, or the only time we were allowed to leave the house once we were 17 or 18 was to go grocery shopping for our parents. And every time we had to go grocery shopping, we had to take our grandma with us. So my grandma, so I'm about like 5'9.5", and my grandma is like, she's probably like 4 something. She's she's pretty down there. So it never made sense to me why I had to take my grandma with me. Say someone's attacking me, someone is about to just like rip me to shreds, rob me, whatever the heck people do, okay? If that was going to happen to me, there is no way in hell my grandma is going to protect me. In fact, I'm probably gonna have to drop all that I have, pick her up and haul ass in the opposite direction. There is no way that she will realistically be able to protect me. Similarly, my cousin, every time she'd go check the mail or go throw out the garbage or anything like that, she would have to take her younger sister with her, who is about 6 years younger than her. Am I doing the math right? Yeah, she's about 6 years younger than her. So it really doesn't make any sense. Like if you're 18 and you're taking around like a 12-year-old with you, kind of just, it doesn't make sense. And she's super scrawny, so there's no way she's gonna be able to, I mean, I get the power of packs, like moving around in packs, but really it just made no sense to me at all growing up. But so a few things, just, I'm sure there's so many more things I can't even think of, but there's just so much. Like growing up in America as this Pakistani has been super hard, and then coming to school and not smelling like masalas, ooh, that is a struggle. And now I'm just like, now I miss it. Now I smell someone who smells like masalas and I'm like, yo, you're so lucky you got your mom cooking for you. Like, you have no idea how lucky you are, you know? So now I smell it and I'm like, oh yeah. But typically, like growing up, I was like, oh, I smell that. I was like, oh my gosh, do I smell like onions? Do I smell like masalas? Is that me? Do I smell like biryani? Also, bringing lunch to school was a struggle too, because you'd pack all these masalas and stuff and you didn't want to just like, oh, it's rough. It's rough, but everyone's gone through it. And you know, now it's not that big of a deal. Now you own your culture. Now you pride on your culture, you know? And so I guess just a shout out to all those little munchkins growing up who think they're all alone in my culture, growing up in America. You're not alone. And it's okay. These things that you think bother you so much in the time are actually going to be something that you miss and pride on later in life. Trust me, people who you don't really know are gonna stop phasing you as much as they did. So this is just kind of like a little shout out to you guys. Remember, Paki Pride, always. Paki Pride and American Pride, because we are both cultures and that's our identity. And we don't fully belong there and we don't fully belong here, but we belong somewhere because we're all communing together and we got each other's backs.